60 years before Aaron Judge, there was the Judge, Frank Robinson. Happy hobby, I'm David Gonos, and if you're a sports car collector and you're working with a limited budget, man, that's what we talk about on this channel, and that's what we're talking about today. We're trying to do more videos about dealing with a limited budget, and this is one that's right down that alley. We're looking at Frank Robinson cards, one of the all-time greatest sluggers in the history of baseball. And we're going to look at some cards that are great cards, also budget-friendly. These are slabbed cards from 60 years ago that I think you'll enjoy. We're going to go through those. We're also going to talk about his rookie card a little bit. We're also going to talk about Frank Robinson in general. But if you're a sports car collector and you're working with a limited budget, make sure you subscribe to our newsletter. Subscribe to this video also. You want to subscribe to this channel. But our newsletter at gonos.substack.com. We do newsletters every week. We do podcasts. It's a lot of fun. The Happy Hobby Sports Cards channel. It's a network, podcast, video, newsletter. It's all of it. And we talk about dealing with a limited budget. So today, Frank Robinson, he's one of the most collectible players in the history of baseball. Baseball cards in general of Frank Robinson are a pretty big deal. If you've got some older ones, that's a big deal. If you have older ones in great grades, that's even better. But here's the deal. They're not all that expensive. They're not super expensive, a lot of them. So this is a guy that connects to Aaron Judge because Frank Robinson's nickname is the Judge, and he connects to Shohei Ohtani. So basically, the last few MVPs of the American League, Frank Robinson's all about it. And as a matter of fact, the way he connects to Shohei Ohtani is Frank Robinson and Shohei Ohtani, the only two players to ever win the MVP in both leagues. Just two players. Those two guys. So that should give you an idea of just how good, just how collectible Frank Robinson is. Now, he had a long baseball career, played on 5 different teams over 21 seasons, and he played on well enough for 3 of those teams for them to retire his jersey. That's how good he was. 3 different teams that he played for were like, man, ain't nobody going to wear your jersey again. This is it. You're the only one that's ever going to, we're done. Not only was he that good, he was good enough for those 3 same teams to put up a statue outside of their stadium. That's pretty good. That's pretty darn good. 21 MLB seasons on his resume. Tons of Frank Robinson cards have been produced. Now we're going to walk down memory lane here. Look at several great cards. But first, we want to talk about his flagship rookie card. This is not a super cheap one. This is not one of the budget-friendly ones, but it is one that's, if you want to get PSA 3, you can get it for a reasonably cheap price. 1957 Topps Frank Robinson rookie card. The thing with this rookie card, it's a beautiful card, first of all, but the 1957 set is a big deal. It's the first time they're using color photos on Topps cards. The only other time, 1953 Bowman started it, and then remember Topps bought out Bowman at the beginning of 56, so here we are 1 year later. Topps does color photographs as well. It's a pretty great set, too. It's a pretty big deal. But a PSA 3 is, you're still looking at paying a little chunk there. But it's his rookie card. It's his overall flagship rookie card, so that's cool. So let's move on to the more affordable options. The 9 great Frank Robinson cards worth under $100. Now, these cards that I'm going to share here, you can go to my website at davidgonos.com, and this article is posted on there. So you could go on and click on the links to find where you would find these cards at on eBay. Now, a collector's grade, just so you know, a collector's grade is a card that is one number above the decade that card came out in. So if it's a 50s card, then it'd be a PSA 6, we'd say, right? Well, this is a budget-friendly channel, so we don't have to have a collector's grade, but we could still get good cards, which means in this case, we're going to be aiming at a card within the same decade number. So in other words, if it's from the 50s, then we're talking about PSA 5s in our what we talk about for his cards. So we're first going to look at his second year card, 1958, Topps Frank Robinson, number 285. Now again, a PSA 5. This one's just under $100. His second year. I mean, it's a great card. Look at it. It's a beautiful card. I love the yellow background on it. Sweet headshot. He's just a tough dude. You know, look at it. He's just, in the previous one, he kind of looked like he was, you know, in his rookie card, he had like choked up on the back. This one, he just looked like, yeah, I'm about to do some damage. I like this card a lot. 1959. Now, the 1959 one is one I own. And this I have in a PSA 6 I'm showing. This card's cheap enough to get in a collector's grade PSA 6. Again, beautiful card. I love the black background on it. Like if it was red or something, it'd just be too much. Love the black. It really highlights both the name and him in that jersey. All right, so we're moving on now to the third one. Yeah, we're moving on to the third one, which is actually his fourth year card. We're skipping 1960. We're talking about 1961. Topps Frank Robinson, number 360. Again, PSA 6, not a collector's grade, but still a pretty great grade. And you can look for, you know, most of Frank Robinson's early cards, because he's on the Reds, those cards are pretty colorful. Like red really pops in these cards. And this one's not any different, especially when it has some yellow on there and blue. This one's got all of it on there. I mean, pretty much all the primary colors on this card. 1961 Topps. It's a boring looking set, but that's a pretty nice looking card. 61 Topps. Again, under $100, PSA 6. Now we move on to 1962 Topps. Now we're going to start sharing some other cards. Not only are they cheap and under $100, but there's a bunch of cards. There's 4 different cards on this 9-card list that are worth under $50, that you can buy under $50. Now this is a 500 home run hitter. Frank Robinson's one of the all-time greatest hitters. And you can buy a card from 1962, that was 63 some odd years ago. Frank Robinson's card. This is the Sporting News National League All-Star card. You can buy it raw for less than $10 because it's an All-Star card. A lot of people don't, you know, think the All-Star cards are as cool because it's not the regular base card. If it's a cool looking card, I'm loving it, man. It has nothing to do, you know, with what type of card it is. If you can get it for $25 and a PSA 6, excellent to mint condition, $25? Yeah, I'll take that. Move on to 1965 Topps Frank Robinson. This is a beautiful card. I actually once owned this card and ended up selling it. PSA 6 for $80. You got the close-up look, the batting stance. It's kind of a playful card design with the pennant and the little red leg, Cincinnati Red Leg guys on there. I love it. It's just a great looking card on every single level. Next one we're looking at, 1967 Topps Frank Robinson, number 100. Now, the 66 version of Frank Robinson's card was his first issued in an Orioles uniform. So if you want to get the first, if you're a Baltimore Orioles fan, it's that 66 one that you want to get. That's his first one. But this one, the 67 one, looks way cooler, in my opinion, than that 66 version. 66 and 67 were both not great looking sets, in my opinion, but I do like this one better than the 66. Now we're going to move on down to 1970 Topps Frank Robinson. Again, this is an all-star card. That Sporting News All-Star. Man, look at that, though. Any of the all-stars that were in this Sporting News All-Star subset. Man, beautiful looking cards. The Pete Rose card is fantastic. And again, this is somebody who he almost hit 600 home runs in his career. And you can buy this one in a PSA 7 matching the 1970 decade. You can buy that for $30. PSA 7. Beautiful card. 1972 Topps Traded card. Frank Robinson, number 754. Now, this came in the extension, the traded set. We know Frank Robinson as a Reds player, as an Orioles player, with Cleveland he played with, but what about his time in Los Angeles? We forget about that, right? He played 103 games for the Los Angeles Dodgers, hence this traded card. and he smacked 19 home runs with them before joining the Angels in 1974. So he had a little bit of time in LA. That's interesting. Until I did this research, I never knew he played with the Dodgers, and I forgot that he played with the Angels. So this card, the fact that it's a Topps traded, means it's a little more scarce. $30 for a PSA 7 matches the decade. I love it. Finally, one of the best looking designs of the 1970s is this 1975 Topps design. It's beautiful. The purple and the pink. It's just a gorgeous card. This is when he was with Cleveland. Now, his nickname was the Judge. Did I mention that earlier? And this was his first with Cleveland. They convinced him, actually, to become the player manager for their club in 1975. And he hit a home run in his very first at-bat in that role as player manager. Now, Robinson played just 100 games with Cleveland from 1974 to 1976, which was his last year in the majors. But what do you think? That's 9 cards under $100. You could ostensibly put together a nice Frank Robinson collection of all of his cards, all of his base cards, maybe his all-star card, a mishmash of all of that at a pretty good price. 21 MLB seasons, a lot of cards to collect in there, but man, not too expensive for this guy. And there's no questioning Frank Robinson should be mentioned in the same breath with Hank Aaron, Roberto Clemente, Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, Ernie Banks. Like, there's some great players from that era, and Frank Robinson, to me, ranks right up there with them. I mean, he's just a fantastic guy. Like, he was known as a stand-up player. Like, players loved him. He ended up getting traded around a little bit, but because he was a weapon, so he was an asset to the teams trading him. I love Frank Robinson. If you love Frank Robinson, hope you get in on some of those cards. Pretty good deals. Let me know if you have any Frank Robinson cards. I want to know what you got. Let me know in the comments below what you have. Maybe what you plan to get. I want to know. Now, stay tuned for more videos like this. I'm going to be previewing different players and some of their cards, spotlighting some of their cards, but cards specifically for people dealing with a limited budget, because that's what we do here. So whatever you do, make sure you have a happy hobby.